Some games are just fun to play. Others test your skills. But then there are games that feel like something else entirely, like you've stepped into a living, breathing movie. These are the stories that stay with you. Not just because of the gameplay, but because of the emotions, the characters, and the way every scene feels crafted with cinematic precision. So today, we're counting down the top 10 video games that are true cinematic masterpieces. At number 10, Control. Control is one of the strangest and most intriguing stories gaming has ever given us. You play as Jessie Faden, a woman haunted by her past, searching for her brother who disappeared years ago. Her search leads her to the Federal Bureau of Control, a government building that studies paranormal phenomena. But here's the twist. The building itself isn't normal. It's alive, it shifts, it bends reality. One moment you're walking down a hallway, the next it transforms into something entirely different. And as Jessie explores, she discovers she's not just an outsider. She's connected to the very mystery she came to uncover. What makes Control so cinematic is how it blends mystery with visuals that feel straight out of a psychological thriller. Strange whispers echo in the distance. People float frozen in midair, and Jessie's powers let her tear the world apart in visually stunning ways. Beneath all that supernatural chaos is a personal story. A sister searching for family, while uncovering secrets that were never meant to be found. At number 9, Horizon Forbidden West. Horizon Forbidden West continues Aloy's journey in a world where machines have replaced animals, and humanity clings to survival. After saving her people in the first game, Aloy now faces an even greater threat, a mysterious plague that's killing all life. To stop it, she travels west into new, uncharted lands. The story is layered. Yes, it's about giant machine battles, but at its core, it's about responsibility. Aloy isn't just a warrior. She carries the weight of humanity on her shoulders. She has to uncover ancient secrets of the old world, battle tribes who see her as a threat, and face machines bigger and deadlier than anything she's fought before. Cinematically, it feels massive. Sweeping deserts, lush jungles, snowy mountains. It's like traveling through a series of movie sets, each more breathtaking than the last. And when you face down a towering machine with the sun setting behind it, it doesn't just feel like gameplay. It feels like you're in the middle of a Hollywood sci-fi epic. At number 8, the Callisto Protocol. The Callisto Protocol drops you into pure horror. You play as Jacob Lee, a cargo pilot who crash lands on Jupiter's dead moon Callisto, only to find himself thrown into Black Iron Prison. But this isn't an ordinary prison. Something has gone terribly wrong. Inmates are mutating into grotesque creatures, and the facility is descending into chaos. This game thrives on tension. Every hallway is dark and claustrophobic. Every sound makes you hesitate. The combat is raw, brutal, and up close, forcing you to face the monsters head-on. And as Jacob fights to survive, he uncovers the horrific truth behind what caused the outbreak. What makes it a cinematic masterpiece is how it borrows from classic horror films. The lighting, the camera angles, the pacing, they all feel crafted to keep you on edge. It's not just about scaring you. It's about immersing you in a story of survival, where every second feels like it could be your last. At number 7, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Jedi Survivor picks up the story of Cal Kestis, one of the last Jedi after the fall of the Order. Set during the Empire's reign, the game follows Cal as he struggles to keep the Jedi way alive while being hunted across the galaxy. This isn't just about lightsaber duels, it's about survival, loss, and the burden of hope. Cal is torn between running and fighting back, and that tension drives the story forward. You see him grow, doubt, and push forward, even as the odds stack against him. The cinematic side shines through in how it feels like a Star Wars film come alive. Sweeping vistas, epic duels, space chases, and quiet moments of reflection. It captures the scale of the galaxy while keeping the story personal. For Star Wars fans, it's not just a game. It's a continuation of the saga, with scenes that feel every bit as powerful as the movies themselves. At number 6, Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima tells the story of Jin Sakai, a samurai caught in a Mongol invasion of Japan. At its heart, it's a story about honor versus survival. Jin was raised as a samurai, bound to a strict code of honor. But against the ruthless Mongols, that code may cost his people everything. So he faces a choice: remain the honorable warrior he was raised to be, or become something else. The ghost, a symbol of fear who fights with stealth and cunning. The cinematic brilliance comes from how the game frames this journey. Duels are staged-like scenes from classic samurai films, with the wind carrying leaves across the battlefield and the tension hanging heavy in the air. Landscapes shift from glowing sunsets to stormy nights, every frame looking like it was painted for the big screen. And at its core, the story is deeply emotional, a man torn between his duty, his people, and his own identity. At number 5, The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. The Last of Us Part 2 isn't just a story, it's an experience. It continues Ellie's journey, years after the events of the first game. What begins as a quest for revenge quickly spirals into something darker, something more complicated. This isn't a simple good versus evil story. It's about cycles of violence, about seeing the world through perspectives you don't want to accept. You feel Ellie's rage, her grief, and her desperation. And then the game flips everything, making you live through the story of Abby, someone you thought was only the villain. That shift is what makes it cinematic. Like a bold drama, it challenges you to question what you believe about right and wrong. Combined with jaw-dropping visuals, haunting performances, and quiet moments of humanity, it feels less like a game and more like a tragic, unforgettable film. At number 4, Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 is the definition of a cinematic epic. You play as Arthur Morgan, an outlaw living at the end of the Wild West. The world around him is changing, civilization is spreading, and the life of outlaws is dying. The story is about loyalty to a gang that feels like family, and the slow unraveling of that family as greed, betrayal, and the law close in. Arthur himself is one of the most well-written characters in gaming. He's not just a gunslinger. He's a man wrestling with morality, survival, and redemption. The pacing is deliberate, like a long Western film, giving you time to soak in the beauty of the world. From quiet rides across open plains to the devastating weight of betrayal, the game makes you feel every high and low of Arthur's journey. By the end, it doesn't just feel like a story you played, it feels like a life you lived. At number 3, Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 continues the story of Peter Parker and Miles Morales, now fighting side by side. It explores their personal struggles, Peter balancing his life while facing a darker threat inside himself, and Miles stepping out of Peter's shadow to become his own hero. The villains, Kraven the Hunter and Venom, aren't just obstacles. They push the heroes to their limits, forcing them to question who they are and what they're willing to sacrifice. It's a story about power, responsibility, and identity, all told with the cinematic energy of a Marvel blockbuster. And then there's the action. Swinging across New York flows seamlessly into cinematic fights, and every set piece feels like it belongs in a superhero film. It's fast, emotional, and powerful, exactly what Spider-Man should be. At number 2, A Plague Tale, Requiem. A Plague Tale. Requiem tells the story of Amisha and her younger brother Hugo, as they flee from war, disease, and the curse that makes Hugo a danger to everyone around him. Unlike most games, this one focuses on intimacy. It's not about armies or empires. It's about two siblings trying to survive in a cruel world. The cinematic strength lies in the emotions. Amisha's determination to protect her brother is heartbreaking, especially as Hugo's powers grow more destructive. The story is full of sacrifice, fear, and fleeting moments of hope. Every scene feels carefully framed. The torchlight flickering in dark tunnels, the swarms of rats flooding villages, the silence of ruined battlefields. It's a story about love and survival, told with the care of an emotional drama. And by the end, it leaves you shaken in a way only the best stories can. At number 1, Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk 2077 is set in Night City, a neon-soaked metropolis where power, greed, and technology rule. You play as V, a mercenary who ends up with a biochip in their head carrying the digital ghost of Johnny Silverhand, a legendary rebel played by Keanu Reeves. The story is about survival, but it's also about identity. V is racing against time as the chip slowly takes over their mind, blurring the line between who they are and who Johnny was. Along the way, you meet unforgettable characters, rebels, outcasts, and dreamers, each with their own struggles in a city that chews people up and spits them out. What makes it cinematic is the way it puts you in the middle of this world. Conversations aren't just cutscenes. They feel like moments stolen from a film. The choices you make shape the ending, giving the story real, emotional weight. With its expansions and improvements, Cyberpunk 2077 has become the story it was always meant to be. A cinematic exploration of humanity in a future where humanity is fading away. These 10 games prove that video games can go beyond entertainment. They can tell stories with the same power, beauty, and impact as cinema. Stories that stay with you, that make you feel, that make you think. And maybe that's the true magic of games. They don't just let you watch the story, they let you live it.